This video will demonstrate the FactoryTalk AssetCentre Custom Device Plugin feature, which was introduced in version 6.0 of FactoryTalk AssetCentre. Custom Device Plugin allows for the creation of assets that are not natively supported by FactoryTalk AssetCentre. Users can now define custom commands to be executed by FactoryTalk AssetCentre agents. In this example, a custom device configuration has been created to allow disaster recovery operations to be executed on a FactoryTalk ViewSE HMI server. A custom device configuration is divided into three sections: Backup, Compare, and Post-Backup. The backup configuration will be the first portion executed by the FactoryTalk AssetCentre agent. The command property specifies the file to execute. In this case, the HMI backup and restore utility will be executed by the agent. The ARG, or global argument property, is optional, allowing the user to specify an argument to be appended to the command. In this example, the HMI backup and restore utility requires a /B argument to define a backup operation. The delay property defines how long the FactoryTalk AssetCentre agent should wait for the completion of the backup command. It will wait either this amount of time or until it detects that the executed file has completed. The backup location property specifies the directory from which the FactoryTalk AssetCentre agent should collect the files and folders to be checked into the AssetCentre archive. It is currently blank because this particular custom device configuration will have a different backup path for each individual asset. The properties associated with the compare configuration have the same definitions but are concerned with the execution of a third-party comparison tool and the collection of the report it creates. The custom compare capability was added in version 6.1 of AssetCentre. Notice that in this example, the ARG property is being populated with AssetCentre variables, which will pass the archive version and uploaded version locations to the compare utility. The properties associated with the post-backup configuration share the same definitions but are executed following the backup configuration. In general, and in this example, the post-backup configuration can be used to remove the files associated with the backup from the hard drive of the agent computer. Once a custom device configuration has been defined, it can be associated with a custom device asset. The asset's configuration data is a required property, but the backup data binder can be automatically created upon the first disaster recovery schedule execution. In this example, a backup data binder already exists and will be used for comparison purposes. The custom configuration property ties the asset to the custom device configuration. A custom device asset provides device-level properties to assist in customizing each individual asset. In this example, the custom device configuration will execute the HMI backup and restore utility with a /B argument, but the utility also requires a configuration file argument. Because that configuration file will be different for each asset, the ARD property, or the device-level argument, can be used to specify it at the device level. This asset will now make use of the globally defined backup command and argument and append its individual configuration file. Recall that the custom device configuration's backup location property was blank because it will vary by device. The asset's backup location property will instruct the AssetCentre agent where to look for the backed up HMI server files. Unlike the results of the backup operation, which are stored in a binder asset, the custom compare results will be uploaded as a single file. This file name must be specified in the global configuration or here at the device level, which will be appended to the path configured globally. This allows for each device's comparison to be customized using a single general template. When defined as part of a disaster recovery schedule, a custom device asset will appear the same as any other and can be configured similarly to a remote computer asset task. A custom device disaster recovery task will check in the contents of the backup location as a binder, which would be automatically created if the backup data property was left blank in the asset configuration. In this example, a previous version already existed. A custom device disaster recovery compare will use the same compare engine as a remote computer asset. This report will show a binary comparison of the binder contents as well as any missing files and any new files. In this example, the custom comparison engine has generated an HTML file with symbol and color coding to easily show the differences in the HMI server's GFX folder. The custom compare engine's results will be attached to the result message in the event log, just like the standard binary comparison. If the disaster recovery operation is configured for email alerts, both the default binder comparison and the custom comparison results will be attached in the resulting email. Custom device plugin functionality is licensed as a capability, which is a single activation. When this capability is activated, each custom device asset then counts against the asset capacity licensing as would any other assets. For more information, please refer to the following sites.